Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody's good as we continue down the path of trying to make it into the fantasy football playoffs. For all y'all that have already made it, those are trying to make it, we got a good one for you today, man. Training players who are the league winners, potential league winners, and who might actually fail you, who are on top right now, is the biggest question mark that we got to go through. I got 8 players on the board, 2 from each position. And we will see how they do shake down. I mean, we still got 5 weeks left of the fantasy football season, but I mean, 2 weeks left to get into the playoffs, and then we'll discuss going forward. So let's talk first. Tua Tagovailoa on the board. Is he a league winner? I mean, this is the biggest question mark right now. He's dropped all the way down to rank number 11, still got 200 points, and this Miami Dolphins offense is still highly explosive and highly octane, moving in the right direction. We do got some good contests coming up for these Dolphins. Washington and Tennessee, we should see a lot of good points flying off the board. So if any of y'all are on the cusp of making the playoffs with Tua as your quarterback, you're likely going to make it in based on those matchups. But with the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Ravens finishing off the season for the fantasy playoffs, it could get a little dicey, man. There is no question about that. Only 13.6 average points for Tua in the last 3 contests, 63% boom rate. I mean, it's not great at this point, but it could get even worse if we're moving down that direction. So, I mean, hopefully you hedged your bets, got another quarterback on your roster. But to caveat that as well, the Dolphins offense is so highly explosive that even versus very tough opponents like the Jets defense, Dallas defense, and the Ravens defense, he could still put up decent numbers for you, where they could utilize the ground game quite a bit, set up that play action pass. Tua on the down right now for me, as he could potentially not be that league winner we all hope for in this high-octane offense. Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of those Cowboys, they're moving in the right direction. Dak has jumped all the way to rank number 3, y'all. He's playing absolutely stellar football as they figured out this offense right now, and playing subpar teams definitely helps aid in that cause. 232 points for a Mr. Dak Prescott, jumped his boom rate up to 72%, y'all, and he's booming on a big way. Last 3 contests, he's averaging almost 30 points a game. This is what we require from our quarterbacks in fantasy football, and I mean, they do got some Thursday night football against the Seattle Seahawks, which should be another good one, but again, good matchups forthcoming based on coverage and secondary. Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, and the Detroit Lions to finish off the season. For Dak Prescott, it's looking good. What can you say? And I mean, yes, there could be a stumble here and there, but I mean, the way that these Cowboys have integrated guys like Brandon Cooks, like they're trying to continue to go to the tight end, reestablish the ground game with a Tony Pollard, everything is beneficial for a Dak Prescott at this point. He's going to be a big one for us, and I think he could be absolutely a league-winning quarterback for us in fantasy football, if you can believe it. With all the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts style, Dak Prescott could surprise a lot of people and give us a league winner this season. Travis Etienne talking running backs. You guys know Travis is my guy. I'm a huge fan of his ever since Clemson days. He is still ranked number 3 as the top running back in half PPR points, 173 points, but it has not looked good the past 3 games. 7.8 on the average, and he is struggling to get going, almost as if he's somewhat hit a little bit of a wall, playing better defenses. They're figuring out to stack the box and get him a little bit stifled. The contest coming up, okay, it's got a little bit of a mix. You got the Bengals and Browns, where the Browns are still considered a very top-end defense. I think they're going to start packing it in very quickly, man. They're starting to get injured. You know, it's very difficult to play 40 minutes of contest with no offensive support. You're going to have a meltdown eventually. So those 2 contests, we could see Etienne still give you the business, where Baltimore and Tampa are very good versus the run, and they should continue by the time we get to week 15, 16, and then a good matchup in week 17. So while you're trying to get into the playoffs, and even if you are in the playoffs with Etienne, you could lose out top-end point productivity in week 15 and 16, where if you do get to the final, that's where Etienne could actually win you the game in the league as well. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag for a Travis Etienne. I still like him, still think he's going to give you some good points, but do we expect the full 20-plus points to come from Travis over these next 5 weeks? We may only get a couple in the remaining schedule, so it may be tough sledding. You're just hoping he gets over that 12-point threshold to give you a little bit of a heads up. But Travis, it's got a tough road ahead, no kidding, man. Bejan Robinson, next one on my board. Y'all thought, why were y'all afraid, man? Because the coach, He probably hit the rookie wall. Let's just call it what it is. Rookies in the NFL, they decided to, pull back his touches, give him a little bit of a rest, and now he's going to explode for the remainder 5 games of the season, man. Look at this schedule coming up for a Bejan. New York Jets, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Indy, Chicago, all very much great running upside outside of Tampa Bay. And with how the Atlanta Falcons are still going for the NFL playoffs, there is a heaping of potential that Bejan could be a massive getter for you in fantasy point productivity. Ranked number 6 right now, almost 150 points, half PPR, 73 on the boom rate. He had one of his best games this past week, and I don't foresee this stopping by any stretch whatsoever. Bejan is that guy that's likely going to help you hoist trophies this year, where everyone was humming and hawing back at draft season saying, do I select a Bejan in the first round? Hell yeah, you do, because he is that good. He is an elite talent in this league, and they will only continue to force feed him, as he could be the guy they lean upon big time to try to get the Falcons in the NFL playoffs. He will carry you throughout this fantasy football season. 15.3 points on the last 3 contests is nothing to sneeze at, as he could legit finish as a top 5 running back without even looking, man. Jamar Chase, wide receiver time. It's a problem, man. We know Joey B is gone for the season. You got Jake Browning as the quarterback. Right now, Chase is still ranked as the 8th ranked wide receiver, 164 points. But the problem is last 2 contests, man, without Joey B, it's 9.15 on the average. And unless Chase is the one, like we saw that incredible catch he made this past week, unless Chase is going to continue to do that week in, week out for the next 5, which is very possible, mind you, it's just going to be a lot harder with someone like Browning throwing him the football. Jags, Indy, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and then Kansas City in the finals. It's all tough sledding, no kidding. Even though the Vikings, they can be gashed at times, they still play decent defense versus the pass, especially against a quarterback like Browning. It's not going to be easy, man. 63% on the boom rate for Chase. It's not great. I mean, we expect a lot better than that in the high 70s. I fully expected Chase to be, but again, circumstances do dictate outcome, and in this outcome, Chase, he could literally fall out of the top 10 of fantasy wide receivers and finish off as a top 15 wide receiver, if not less. There is no joking about that. So for me, the trend is going down for Jamar Chase being a league winner for us. Jumping on, a little bit of a, high risk, high reward potential league winner this year, Christian Watson. This is very possible, but it's extremely high risk. But I do like the potential of what could come. This week they got the Chiefs, but everything else after that is going to be cake, man. Giants, Buccaneers, the garbage secondaries that give up loads of fantasy points. Carolina Panthers, who do still play wide receivers pretty well, but I think Jordan Love could carve them up when it comes down to Week 16, and then finishing it off with Minnesota for the fantasy football finals. This is very good, man. While the Packers are still in the NFL playoffs, they have figured out their offense just a little bit more. This youthful approach, this powerful, extreme speed. It's good, man, and Watson's finally getting into the end zone. Yes, his boom rate is terrible at 25%, but his last 3 contests, he is averaging over 10 points. This is good news, something to build on for a Christian Watson. As long as, they got 3 of them, man. Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, and now Christian Watson. You start to sprinkle passes all over this field. Get the ball in this man's hand, because he's got speed for days, and he'll definitely do it. This is definitely high risk, high reward, but I won't be shocked if Christian Watson does end up being a league winner wide receiver for us in our flex or wide receiver 2 spot. It could be absolutely gorgeous, because he is that good with the wheels. Dalton Schultz talking tight end time. Okay, I was a big fan this offseason. Y'all know this, man. Going to Houston, I loved every ounce of what they were building around to C.J. Stroud to give him more support in this offense. Ranked number 7 right now, just under the 100-point mark for fantasy points for Dalton Schultz. The only problem is right now that I have is the evolution of Tank Dell and Nico Collins with C.J. Stroud. When Noah Brown does come back, this will only complicate matters for Dalton Schultz getting his target share. We saw his worst contest of the season, under 1 point, man, in half PPR this past week. It is not good for Schultz. Target share right now outside of red zone upside might be the only way we're getting the top end point productivity, with a daunting schedule coming in the fantasy football playoffs versus the Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns, and the Tennessee Titans once again. So by the time we get there, it could change, it could alter based on team dynamic, where the Titans are likely out of the playoffs. We'll like to try to play spoiler. The Cleveland Browns defense, we'll see where they're at week 16. It could be actually falling down, which is a positive for Dalton Schultz. But right now, Denver, even, while they're in the green based on matchup, Denver's no slouch in how they're playing ball right now, and they absolutely lock up a lot of players through the pass game. New York Jets, we all know. So this is not a good situation for Dalton Schultz at your tight end spot, where it could be drastic right now. 6.67 on the average last 3 games. Like I said, under 1 point this past week. It was no good, no bueno for a Dalton Schultz. I think this could be a bust coming into the, fantasy football playoffs to be that league winner. Last one I got is TJ Hockenson. And I understand it's the easy evaluation. He is the number 1 ranked tight end right now, and I don't foresee this changing whatsoever, especially with how Travis Kelce is not playing the standard of football that we fully expect from Kelce. I mean, Hockenson looks good, even if as piss poor as the Vikings looked on Monday Night Football versus those Chicago Bears. TJ Hockenson is still going to be the fixture in this offense. No kidding, almost 150 points, and the schedule does look extremely favorable, even with Josh Dobbs turning the football over as much as he did. They got JJ coming back off the bye week in week 14. So, I mean, you lose them this week because they are on the bye. But, I mean, Las Vegas, Cincinnati, Detroit, Green Bay, all very good games. You got a revenge game in week 16 versus the Detroit Lions. You know he's going to get up for that one as well. 64% on the boom rate and 15.3 points average over the last 3 contests. So, yeah, target share may go down when JJ does come back, but we're going to see a lot of lesser coverages coming to his side, which is always good news, and it will assist the cause for TJ Hockenson to be the league-winning tight end that we're all looking for. But there you have it. That is 8 players that are trending on the ups or downs based on how we could see them as potential league winners as we get closer to the fantasy football playoffs. It is interesting. It is awesome. It's exciting. Hope you guys definitely made it. Stay tuned for the rest of the week. I'll get you covered for this week's start, sit, lineup advice as well. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.